Welcome to Down the Barrel Podcast with Jimmy and Dino. Get ready to dive into the wild world of Minnesota hunting, trapping, and wildlife. We'll be chatting with some folks who protect, manage, and promote the great outdoors. But don't worry, we'll also have some laughs as we chat about guns, whiskey, and anything else that catches our eye. So grab a drink, sit back, and get ready for a good time. Down the Barrel Podcast is brought to you by the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association
and wolf.report. Wolf.report, a platform dedicated to elevating the voices of Minnesota hunters, trappers, and outdoor enthusiasts. Join us in advocating for responsible wolf management in Minnesota. Share your reports, photos, and stories, and together we will ensure that they are seen by all.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, protecting the future of deer and deer hunting through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation.
I think our first question was mainly why was the decision made to make the switch from the old system of one weekend a year?
Sure. Yeah, there was just a lot of logistics concerns at the time with that big hunt, whether it was safety issues or just outside the gate stuff, all those things stacked up. And then all that, the public hunt is really the only thing that shut down all training on the installation. And so with the op tempo of the Minnesota Guard, 34th Infantry Division, 1st Brigade Comp Team, they really get used a lot. So they need this training space. So when you'd go to military commanders telling them that, hey, we're having this public archery hunt out here and you can't train, that's not the easiest sell all the time.
Right.
But just because this was such a good public event and it did a really good job at managing the deer herd a little bit and then just providing a recreational opportunity. It was just one of those things that just kept going forward. But then just with the ongoing logistics and safety issues that would pop up, even though there was nothing really huge over the years from a safety perspective, there was just the chances of issues popping up. And we needed to come up with a solution to just do it a little better, to get rid of that surge of people that is really hard to manage for everybody. And so this iSportsman system is came up with.
Yeah, it sounds like, so iSportsman, other military bases use that as well, correct?
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Okay.
And we reached out to a lot of them before we went on the path on this one just to see their experiences. And it was overwhelmingly positive from the institutions. They really appreciated the system. They did say up front that, hey, you're going to see some growing pains.
Right.
And we've certainly experienced a little bit of that so far.
Yeah.
But we're working that out. And I think long term it'll be really beneficial for the hunters. I know I'm a guy that doesn't like to be out there with a couple thousand other people in the woods. I know that was always a little busy, and so this will give hunters just a better experience overall, and it'll be safer and logistically much more easy to carry out.
Yeah. Well, and I know we've all played around in that iSportsman a little bit, and it seems very user-friendly, pretty straightforward. So I think it will be a good system.
Yeah, it's a couple of big questions I get all the time. This is stuff I intend to put real clear directions on the site once we get, a few days out from the season opening up.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big things is, so when can I check in? Right? How do I see what's open to me?
Right.
And a couple of the answers to that are, hunters can check in starting at 12:01 a.m. on the day that they want to hunt. Okay. And they'll also be able to see what training or hunting areas are available to them right at that same time. So we'll be populating a map and then a list on the site that shows red or green. And if green, you'll be able to check in and go hunting. If the areas, you got to stay out.
Okay, makes sense.
So how does that work for camping? Because so before, I know we would, camp and everything. And so how does that work?
Yeah, can I just back up and make one point real quick?
Yep.
I actually was listening to the first 3 minutes of your last podcast there, and you were talking about when the season opened. And our intent was to get that exact on the day that the state season did open. But we didn't have the official dates released when we were setting up our permits.
Gotcha.
So we're going to be a day late.
Okay.
So September 5th is the first day you're going to be able to come out and hunt on the day after the archery season opens.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, there goes my
Hopefully
plans.
next year we'll nail that date, but once we sell our permits, there's no changing them in our iSportsman system.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
So yeah, back to the camping piece. There will still be camping allowed on installation. It's going to look different than it has in years past. Everybody was used to the big event over on the east side of the cantonment area, kind of go wherever you want, get in where you fit in.
Yep.
It'll be a lot more controlled now, and it'll be right down the range gate where everybody was used to going through kind of that light gate before you get out to the woods and the hunting area.
Yeah.
Range control office there.
Okay.
And just south of the range office, there's a big open grassland there. And we're going to be setting up, I believe it's 72 camp sites or camping spots, generally speaking.
Okay.
And be able to reserve those through our housing office. And there will be a charge to that nowadays. So it'll be $10 a night. And then you can camp for as long as you want.
Okay.
And there will be porta potties and trash available to folks. Just none of those other camping hookups, I guess, electric, water, or all that stuff.
Right. So what was that? What was it going to be the charge?
$10 a night.
$10 a night. Okay. Sorry, I missed that.
And do you foresee a problem with that of, let's say, somebody camping and them being able to get in to hunt? Do you see that being a problem at all?
It could pop up.
Okay.
It's something we've talked about internally, and we just don't have a good way to avoid that.
Okay.
We can only forecast out so far as military training goes. That stuff shifts around a lot.
Right.
So to be able to get people down there safely, we can give them that, that short window of being able to check in. So it could happen where folks are up there camping, and if they don't get checked in,
if they don't get up early enough,
might be out of luck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, if you're camping, you better get up early and get your spot in line.
Or stay up late.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I do think a lot of the time, though, especially after this first year, I think things will even out. And for the most part, I really don't think we're going to be bumping up to capacity all the time.
Okay.
I mean, there's certainly going to be those surge times. Of course, the end of October, rut season there, it's going to be busy.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long in advance can you book to camp? Because I think we read before where you could only do it 2 weeks before. Was that correct?
It's about a week.
A week?
And really that's going to be up to housing. I have a week on the site, but that's really more for our rooms and for the structured camping areas in the park woods.
Yep.
So that's really a question I should get more clarity on from them. To me personally, you can book in advance however long you want, but I don't know if that's the right answer all the way around.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe for the campsites you could, and then for the billeting, it would have to be on that short-term basis.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. That week has been the historical rule.
Okay.
Though it wasn't always communicated the best, I'll readily admit. But that was the rule for the housing office.
And will there still be a rule against campfires?
Yes.
Okay.
In the camping area, no open flames.
No open flames. Okay. I figured I better ask.
Right.
Yep.
So we're thinking that obviously, call the housing office, figure out when you can, get into camp.
Right.
So then they'll give you all the instructions, on how to come in and everything and where to camp. And then you sign up for iSportsman's the night.
Yep.
Well, 12:01, the morning
of,
more or less the morning of your hunt. And then that'll give you all the information that you need and be able to get in that way. So you get your permit,
on iSportsman.
On iSportsman, and then you have to make sure you're the first 150 to the range office, or
Nope.
no?
So if you're in from 3 hours away, you can check in on iSportsman from the comfort of your home.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then drive on in.
Right.
Okay.
Even if you get there at 10 a.m.
And the range gates will open right about 6 o'clock. You'll have to stop in at range control and get a vehicle pass. It's just a little pass they'll have inside the door there on the left.
Okay.
You'll put in your license plate number, phone number, and name, and just grab the pass. You don't even have to talk to anybody. Just throw that vehicle pass on your dashboard, and you're good to hunt. And once you're done for the day, you can just come back out, check out on iSportsman, and return your vehicle pass, and you're good to go.
Okay.
Perfect.
And then I'm sure it's same as before, out by dark.
Yeah, so that's going to vary a little bit with range control hours too.
Okay.
So really, that's going to be when range control is operating. It's going to be their window of time. Early on in the season, I really don't see a lot of issues with this.
Right.
Because it's a lot of times they're running long hours, especially early on, and then once you get later in the season when they're slow, the sun's setting early anyway. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then do you have the phone number for the housing office, just so we can get that out to the listeners?
Yep. I was just actually perusing the site here to find that. Yes, the Camp Ripley housing number is 0616 3140.
320-616-3140.
Yep.
Perfect.
Awesome.
A note I wanted to make too earlier, just about the site. Generally speaking, just make sure if you're looking to come out hunting, don't apply for your new account if you don't already have an account. Don't apply for that new account at 10 o'clock at night and expect to be able to get a permit and see what's open.
Right.
Not going to happen for you. I have to get in there and approve all these new accounts. So if they're setting up a new account, allow a few days.
Yeah.
And just make sure that I've got the time to get in there and approve it. And then once you're approved, you'll see your permit available to you. You can buy the permit and then go through all the process of checking in and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, obviously, I was early to the game on this, but I think I filled out my information and I was approved within, I want to say, an hour. So I would think if people do it early, you're going to be able to stay on top of it a bit more.
Right.
And then was there something
it worked out well for some folks there. I was at annual training for the Guard there for a while, so I was working nights.
Okay.
And all these folks that were on after work putting in their new applications, I was able to be on them immediately. I sit at a desk all the time for my National Guard job.
Okay.
Gotcha. And was there something about group? You could apply as a group as well?
Right now you won't be able to, since we're not having a limit on permits. We didn't do any sort of group application. If we get to a point where we're limiting permits or it gets to be a lottery again, we'll definitely be allowing that group application. That is something that the website can allow, and we do that for our soldiers muzzleloader hunt and turkey hunts. Just because they're oversubscribed all the time, and so we really want to make sure those folks can get in and hunt with their crew.
Yeah,
for sure. So what will anything change with when you come out and let's say you actually get a deer? I know when we got out before, we always had a check in there.
Yeah.
Yep. So a little bit of that old check station stuff will still go on.
Okay.
But that's more for the benefit of the Central Lakes College and the students out there. We still wanted to make sure they have the ability to get hands-on experience and interact with the hunters and gather data and do all that sort of stuff. So there will be occasional weekends or perhaps weekdays where we're staffing a check station, but it'll be right by the range gate there.
Okay.
And it'll just be an optional thing for hunters to come through and allow those students to gather biological data and stuff like that.
Okay.
Otherwise, the check or the game registration is going to be all on the iSportsman site.
Okay.
And really, it'll be like a two-step process. And I've got this set up in there where people will go in, they'll register their animal with iSportsman, and right on that same page, there's a link to the DNR's big game registration tab.
Oh,
And then they
nice.
got to make sure to re-register in it with the state too.
That makes sense.
So, any CWD testing on the Ripley hunt?
We'll see what pops up. We haven't been reached out to by those folks yet this year.
Okay.
But I'd anticipate that whenever they ask, we'll definitely facilitate. We will have Department of Health out there. I know which weekend. I believe it's the historical weekend of the public hunt, and they'll be gathering ticks
Oh, okay.
to test for diseases and whatnot.
Gotcha.
Nice.
So we'll know more after that date then, which I think was usually the very last weekend of October, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, that hunters can expect for this year that last weekend of October, there's going to be a check station open.
Okay.
It'll definitely look different than what it has in the past. It's probably just going to be an ice castle fish house. Just sitting down by the range gate there with a little sign out, and the students will be there and just taking weights, measurements, aging. You know, if by that point we're looking for CWD,
Right.
whatever it is. So.
Yeah, and I think it said on the website that you guys were starting to sell permits on the 1st, right? So you guys are already selling them. Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay.
They're selling like hotcakes, it seems.
Good enough. Yeah, I haven't been in there since then, but I'm going to have to.
I know I'm all registered, but I haven't bought my permit yet. But I may do that tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Any idea how many you've roughly sold at this point?
Oh, I should have looked at that. As of last week, there was something like 575.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Well, people are hitting it, so that's good.
And,
People are using
and while
it.
we're yakking here, I can get on the system and try and pull that report.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be good information to have.
Yep, and that's really one of the really nice things with this system. We have just a lot of good ways to track stuff
Right. Gives you a lot more
and
data.
just really see kind of real time what's going on.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and so I know you
And
had.
historically, we just haven't really had the access to that stuff at the installation anyway. I know the DNR had more access to it, but
Right.
it wasn't as readily available to us.
Yeah. Well, and I know you had said that the sounds like the primary reason for this switch to the Ripley hunt is entirely around military logistics and, running drills and all of that. We had heard that part of it was potentially due to trying to increase the harvest on Ripley as well. So is there any merit to that statement, or is it really more just the logistics side?
Yeah, really, the driver is completely safety and logistics.
Okay.
That's always been a big thing over the years. Just getting all those people downrange, beating up the roads, the safety hazards of people parking out on Haven Road and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really safety and logistics that drove it.
All right.
That makes sense.
And I mean, the population management stuff is one of my priorities with all this. But from an installation command perspective, it's really more military training and logistics.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess what at this point in the switch, what is your biggest question mark or potential concern? Like, what are you most nervous about with this switch?
That everybody is able to check in on September 15th.
That's a valid concern.
That is a valid concern. Because, you're going to be getting hit there.
The day permit sales opened up, there was some glitches that happened there, and I was getting phone calls. I wasn't even working, actually, and I was getting phone calls at 7 in the morning, and it's, hey, this isn't working.
Yeah.
And that was only for the soldiers' hunts at that time. Everything was working just fine for the civilians, but it's just one of those things. I really hope it functions.
Yeah.
Well, you'll probably have some growing pains there, but it seems like it'll be a good system once all the bugs get ironed out and everybody learns it.
Right.
Yep. I think that'll be the case, and it's been a learning curve for us so far, for me especially.
Right.
But I think overall, I mean, the iSportsman folks are really great to work with, and they put out a good product here, and it seems like it's working well.
Yeah. Well, so I guess the reverse of my last question, what are you most excited or optimistic about?
Well, optimistic wise, I'm excited that people just get a longer season and not have so much foot traffic in the woods when they're out there hunting.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm a guy that likes my solitude, and I think that's the better way to be.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I'm glad that that's happening for folks.
Yeah.
And I think it'll give us a good ability to really monitor our populations more. For us in the environmental office, we don't get funding from the DoD to support wild deer surveys or put in new docks or fund recreation stuff on the installation.
Right.
So, I mean, some of the revenue from this, beyond paying for the system itself, the iSportsman system isn't super cheap.
Okay.
So beyond paying for that stuff, it's really going to be doing good for recreation on the installation. We anticipate being able to use some of these funds to really benefit the hunters and sportsmen that are out at Ripley.
Yep.
Right.
So that'll be a really good outcome of this whole thing too. Ideally, in the long run, we intend to use some of the money for this to work with the DNR to set up more intensive aerial surveys of the installation, probably some more specific modeling for our populations at camp.
Oh, wow.
So we can have a really good handle on what our deer population's doing from year to year, and then just be able to tailor that and make a better hunt for folks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because it was always kind of a crapshoot as to where you're going to end up. You pick 3 different spots, and you're hoping you can at least get one of those 3, and then you're going into the dark. So, I mean, at first we were, kind of, not going to like it so much. But now, after talking to you and reading some more information, that it might be really good for people.
Yeah.
And a lot more relaxed, because it was always kind of the best and worst of bow hunting.
Right.
I think this will open up opportunities for new people to experience a Ripley hunt.
Yeah, because there was always that, barrier to entry. It was a hard thing to get into and know what to do during that crazy time of the traditional hunt that has been done in the past. So I think it'll make it easy for a lot of new folks too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, me personally, I've never done the Ripley hunt. I'm going to throw that out there because I've always been turned off by the fact that it's I don't know, I always refer to it as like the Woodstock of deer hunting.
Yep.
I go out to hunt to be alone to find deer, and that just sounded like a little too much energy for me.
Yeah. It takes a little getting used to, but it turned into a tradition for us.
Yeah, it was our deer camp.
Mm-hmm. And which it sounds like we can still do it, just a couple maybe extra steps.
Yeah.
And hopefully for the better.
Oh, I think it possibly could be for the better, especially knowing the camping information a little bit more now.
Right.
And, I see it still being, you're going to camp for 2 or 3 days, because it's going to be tough to go in just one day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's more of a luck thing. But if you can camp for a few days, or, stay in the Billiardine, or you live local, if you can get there, for 2 or 3 days at a time,
you're golden.
Then that's the way to do it. You got 1 day of scouting, and then you'll be solid.
Right. So Jake, what do you foresee, let's say on a daily basis, like what percentage of the base will be closed down to maneuvers?
Oof, yeah, that's really hard to forecast.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it'll be a larger portion?
Early season, there's going to be a big chunk of the center that's closed.
Okay.
Pretty much. I mean, if you know the area well, from Champaign Road all the way up to Lake Alot. Well, not Lake Alot Road. I guess all the way up to
Casino or whatever it is.
Yeah, north of the Northern Impact area.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so almost be even north of Pusan.
No.
Oh no, because
Not that
Pusan
far.
was
Not
the
that
far.
Well, no, not
one.
Pusan.
So it would be Casino.
Casino, wouldn't it
right
be?
above there.
Casino, yeah. Yeah.
Because
Champaign to Casino, that whole area.
that's pretty busy. Yeah.
That'll be common. Those are just the big range complexes in through there, so they close off a lot. And that's a point I should make here too, from a safety perspective. Historically, if a civilian hunt and the public archery hunt, went beyond a gate that was down over a road or something like that,
Yeah.
they probably weren't going to die, right? But
Right.
now there's going to be real deal military training going on while these hunters are out there. So
Right.
if they see a gate, that means every single thing behind that is closed, not
Yeah.
just
Right.
the road,
Mm-hmm.
the woods, the fields, the whole works. They cannot go in there.
Yeah, that's good information because I'm sure there's people that did that every year.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
because there was areas historically that
yeah.
were just closed to vehicle traffic, but overall they could still go in there as long as they were walking. But now if there's a gate down, you really cannot go beyond it at all.
Right.
I just can't stress that enough.
Yeah, and there was in that area you're talking about. That was where a lot of people went to go hunt. The majority, or a good
Well, off
section of them.
casino, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
right in the middle
I always
there.
saw a lot of folks there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that center and the west side, the west side of the northern impact area, the southeast corner of the southern impact area,
Right.
really popular spots.
Yep.
And those are going to be areas, especially early season, that are going to be closed off quite a bit.
Right.
But as we get later, it'll open back up a lot more.
Right. Well, I think people will find
So-
that there's just going to be more areas that they can try because there's going to be less people in the woods. If you're only dealing with 100,
Yeah, I
150
totally agree.
people,
And
you're going to be able to hunt just about
beyond the
anywhere.
150 a day limit, there's going to be, or there is a limit on the number of people that can check into a given area downrange. So, and I keep saying downrange too. I should clarify, everything's downrange to us. Once you get
Right.
past
Yeah.
the range gate,
Yep.
that's your hunting area. That's downrange to me.
Right. Yeah.
So once you get beyond downrange there and you're looking at the different areas, there's a 5-person limit
Really?
for each area too. So once 5 people check into a given area, that area turns red. Nobody else can go into it.
Okay.
So some of these training areas are huge,
Right.
and yeah, you'll have 5 people in 800 acres.
So how do you check into an area?
Through iSportsman, right?
You'll be able to see that once the season goes live
Okay.
in the site. When you click check in on the button on there,
Okay.
you'll be able to see all the areas that are open and closed. The map will populate in
okay.
there, and you'll be able to see that stuff real time.
So you're going to pretty much know where you're going at check-in. A rough area.
Yeah, you'll definitely know exactly where you're going.
That's
Well,
interesting.
not to the tree, but
Well,
Right.
yeah.
but at least you can pick an area and know you're going
There's
to
no
be
more
able to
than-
hunt that area.
Well, that's kind of interesting.
That is actually, I kind of like that.
Yeah,
idea.
me too.
Yeah, it'll help the
and
scouting for
in
sure.
advance of people getting on there on the Ripley iSportsman page, I should reiterate too to hunters, if you're looking for iSportsman, don't just Google iSportsman, Google Camp Ripley iSportsman.
Right.
We just had a guy, I think it was last week, that had bought a permit at like Fort Indian Town Gap or some place. And he was looking at all this stuff and we're going, what? What are you seeing right now? And it wasn't the Camp Ripley iSportsman page because he had just searched iSportsman, clicked on the first one that popped up
And
and went with
registered.
it. So,
Well, he's got himself a hunt somewhere else.
Right.
but so yeah, for hunters in advance, if they want to look around and see kind of the different areas that are available, we do have a maps tab on the iSportsman page there. If you go to the upper left corner and click on the drop down menu, there's a maps tab in there, and then we have several geo PDFs that are available to folks.
Okay. Well, that'll be
And
interesting to
so
look
if they
at.
just Google or just click on the Camp Ripley Hunter Map tab that pops up,
Yeah, and you need to have
you
your
can download that onto your
permit
phone.
first, right?
You can open it through the Avenza app,
You've got to
and
have the
it'll show you right where you're at.
Right.
Yeah, and just to clarify, you do need to have the permit first before you can see all of that, correct?
Nope, the maps, you don't even have to be logged in or any of that stuff.
Okay.
So there's a disclaimer on that stuff you can see without being logged in, where this hunter map that you can download is not the live time stuff.
Okay.
that's going to show you exactly what's open and closed. It's just for reference of your general area where you're located.
Right.
Okay. Well,
And you can see all the different training areas or hunt areas that are open to or that are there. Yeah.
Perfect.
well, that is interesting. That should.
So yeah, then once the hunt goes live, like I say, hunters will actually be able to see real time or near real time
Yep.
what's open and closed. If it's green, you can go. If it's red, you can't.
Oh, that is interesting. I think that'll. I kind of like that because then you can try some new areas that you've never got to try before.
Yeah.
Because you can almost claim, an area. I mean, obviously one spot in that area, but
Right.
that'll
Right.
that'll be handy.
So, Jake, we've heard a lot of discussion, or I guess calls for a Ripley bear hunt. Where are we at? I mean, is that even on the table on your end?
No, not really. There's a lot of issues that would pop up from that, just from a baiting perspective, and then the season setting perspective. And it's just another thing going on downrange for military training, and then just also, I'll say from a scientific perspective, we have just really long-term data sets, like generational data sets on bears.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'd be a hard thing for us to justify because we are a state game refuge, the largest in the state.
Yep.
We have to be able to justify our take of animals. And if we can't show that we have a for sure harvestable surplus, we can't do that.
Yep.
And then also just from a general mortality perspective, from all the monitoring of our bears that we've done over the years, we do see really similar mortality of our bears overall to the rest of the state.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Right. Just putting some thought into it.
So I found the
yeah,
maps.
trust me, I get asked about it quite a bit, and I know there's a lot of bears out there.
There does seem to be.
Yeah, so I was looking at the map, and you've got outside the main Camp Ripley installation, you've got some exterior
On the west side.
On the west side that are still obviously run by Camp Ripley, but they're outside of the main reservation. So can you hunt that as well, or is it just only within Camp Ripley itself and downrange?
Yeah, all those parcels outside the installation,
Yep.
they're open to the hunters 100% of the time.
Oh, okay.
I tell folks that want to access those to just treat them like any other wildlife management area.
Okay.
And yeah, you can access them all the time. The parcel that's directly adjacent to camp, it's about a 450 acre parcel. And that's our rough grouse management area. We maintain about 5 miles of hunter walking trail through there. And we're working to really improve that for grouse generally, but of course, if you work on grouse habitat, that does a lot of good stuff for a lot of animals.
Yep.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
The one, if you're looking at the map now, one that's farthest south, I'll say that one's almost impossible to access to the public. It's surrounded by private land and the Nature Conservancy Preserve on the north side. So that one you can't really get to.
Yeah.
It's beautiful when you're in there. It's awesome old growth oak.
Really?
But those other ones to the north, yeah, they can get in there any old time.
Yeah, no permit needed in those ones.
Yep.
Except for the adjacent one.
Well, and even the adjacent one, that rough grouse management area, it's completely accessible. Anybody with a hunting license or just the ability or want to get out in the woods, they can go.
Go for it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, great. I kind of like that. I mean, I see how you got all the areas numbered off. That'll be handy.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this map before.
So we call those training areas internally, but so the hunters, I'll try and call them hunt areas.
Oh, right. Well, yeah. That is good information. Well, yeah, Jake, I think you've really clarified a lot of stuff for us, and I feel better just talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, we didn't give you.
I know there's been some confusion around it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we were really confused just by what we've heard and what we've read. And it's like, okay, what's going on? Why? And no, so this has definitely made us understand a little bit easier and a little bit more, and it doesn't sound too crazy or too bad, other than, just trying to figure out when to camp. Obviously, we'd have to call the housing to figure out those details.
Right.
And then trying to get in for the day doesn't really seem like it would be
a problem if you do it early enough, for sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you can hunt during the week. Like anything, I see it like we're just a different chunk of public land now. If you want to avoid folks, you go during the middle of the week.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think that's all good information, and I learned some stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Makes me feel a lot better about it. So do you have any more questions?
We can only get so much out there in press releases and all that stuff. It's hard to quantify all the changes.
Right.
Well, then you were still, I'm sure going through the system and working out the kinks at that to begin with as well. So.
Exactly. Yeah, we were trying to answer questions and going, oh, well, we need to answer those to ourselves before we answer them to you.
Yeah.
Just tell people you're working on it. It's going to work.
Yep.
It's going to work. Come the 15th of September.
Yep,
Ready to rock.
The day after Archery opener, Ripley opens.
Yeah. Make sure we get that out there.
Hopefully next year we nail that date on the head. I just had to be getting our permits built and ready to go, and I didn't realize I could shift the dates back and forth once they were built. But
good,
awesome
learning experiences.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that answered all my questions. I didn't have anything else written down at all.
No, I think that basically covered it, Jake, and we appreciate your time, and we're going to get this out there hopefully as soon as tomorrow.
Yeah,
and answer some other people's questions, so maybe it'll reduce some of your phone calls that you're getting.
Sure, that'd be great. I'll listen through your last podcast too here, and if I hear anything, I'll email you guys and just let you know the information if there's anything that can be clarified in the future.
Yes, we are always.
I appreciate you getting the information out.
We are always willing to learn and grow and redact statements as needed.
There was just a lot of confusion in the last one, but I think you took care of all that.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
For sure.
This will hopefully save my fingers some wear and tear. I've been virtually responding to emails.
Well, I tell you what, the last episode we did was about this, and it was about confusion. And then so far, it's been one of our most popular episodes.
Yeah.
So people are looking. People are curious.
Yeah. So hopefully this one will get a lot of
big
visits.
hunt. It's been going on a long time. So we recognized that this change it would start a wave going, and it was going to be a big thing. So.
Right. No, I think the change, at least after talking to you, seems like a good deal, and I think everybody else will come around too.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously going to get get the haters out there. That's just the way it's going to be. Nobody likes change, but I also think it'll be good for obviously Camp Ripley in the long run,
and the hunters in the long run,
and the hunters honestly in the long run once they realize how easy and good it will be,
and how many more options I think they're going to have.
Yeah,
how many more choices really,
and how relaxed it will be.
Right, that'll be a big change actually.
Yeah, I think people are going to start to realize that this is more like normal archery hunting out there, where those deer aren't just going to be running all over the place because they're getting pushed by 2,000 people all day.
Right.
So
we might.
Yeah, this will be more real hunting, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, we might get lucky and see a deer that won't be running and just disappear.
We'll see more deer than hunters this time.
I will say selfishly though, so I have my family has a little property right across the river from Ripley, and it was kind of nice, having 2,000 hunters pushing deer across the river.
Yes, I believe that.
And I know we did a good job too.
Yeah, right? Exactly. I'm going to have to work for my deer this year.
For sure. We're going to get them this year.
Well, Jake, we appreciate it, sir. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks for dealing with our little technical difficulties there in the beginning. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet, guys. Happy I could clear some things up, and hopefully this gives you guys some more stuff to talk about and really helps out the hunters. I'm a hunter myself, and I don't want this to be difficult for folks. I really am trying to make this a quality experience, and so
awesome.
I hope it works out.
Yeah,
let's do.
Yeah, me too. And if there's anything you want to add at any time or any information you want to pass along to us, by all means, you've got our email, and we'll see if we can get some more information out at any time.
Yeah, to help you out.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks a lot.
You have a good evening.
You too.
It's time to pick our winner for our trivia question that we had a couple episodes back. This question was, in whitetail hunting lingo, what does the acronym BBD stand for? We went through all of the listener submissions, and we are ready to pick a winner.
Yeah, I think.
Looks like it will be. Is that Russell Reiner? Thinking that's Reiner.
Russell Reiner.
Russell Reiner. Yeah, so we will shoot you a message and get your info. We're
Right.
going to give you some swag.
Yeah. We said what? Free hat and MDHA stickers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what we decided.
Boom. Awesome. Thanks for commenting, Russell. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for all the commenters and shares and likes. That was a really popular one
Yeah.
that we had. So
Yeah, that was the Ripley one, right?
Yeah.
it was.
That was the prequel to this one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That was us making assumptions
And
doing our own
confused.
research. And then today we talked to the actual expert.
The
So,
head guy in charge, but he clarified some stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
we did. And I'm trying to remember. We weren't harsh on him by any means the last time. We were
absolutely
just
not. No, we
just
were
going through our
confused.
experiences.
We asked for his input, his assistance.
yeah.
Yeah, because we were like, okay, we don't know what to do. So
Right.
All right.
Well, and do we want to do our other winner as well, or should we save that for the next episode?
that one's not even out yet.
Yeah.
All right.
So I have to wait on that one.
Yeah. So, but
We
we
should do
could
a new
ask
one.
ourselves questions again.
We could, and then we can do a new one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So-
just do a couple questions for us, and then
Yeah, we got
I
a
already
little more time.
I picked one for the listeners.
All right. So what do you got?
This one's for me and Dean, and you, if you don't read the answer.
Yeah, don't read it.
Okay. All right. What term describes a fish that spends most of its time in fresh water but goes to salt water to spawn?
Does it give us multiple choice?
Nope.
Oh, that sucks.
I mean, I know it, but I don't know it. I can tell you which fishes. I can tell you what fish those are, but what's the name? Can I just take a stab in the dark because of the one word I know that has to do with that? And
Sure.
I know it's wrong, but I'm going to sound an idiot. I'm going to say brackish fish.
That's a good guess.
I mean,
I don't even know how to spell that.
I know it's wrong, but that's really as close as I can get.
Yeah. I mean, I have nowhere to go beyond that either. So I'm going to look at the answer. 'cause
Okay.
Dean
Yeah.
doesn't
No, I don't
want
even know.
to attempt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even pronounce that.
Okay.
Catadromus?
yeah.
Catadrim?
Wow.
That word.
I would have been close.
Catadromous.
Okay. That was above my pay scale.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
I definitely can't spell that.
Right. Give us an easier one, would you?
I'll try.
Something we might know. We don't have salt water around here.
There you go. That's her excuse.
I'm going to stick with it.
How many fish do that?
Those salmon, I know that.
I know salmon. I was thinking of a bull shark,
Yeah, I think I've heard that.
although that's not technically a
fish. Is it?
It is.
Oh, is it?
Is it?
Shark? Yeah.
Shark? Is it fish?
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a bunch of species, but
Yeah.
obviously we don't know them around here.
All right, I'm going to ask this one because I know it.
No, well, there you go.
What is the phenomenon related to hypothermia victims in which bodies are found partially or completely undressed?
I mean, I know that's like a symptom of hypothermia.
Yeah.
People take off their.
Yeah.
I mean, I could make up a word.
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
No, let me see. I got hyperthermal confusion. How's that?
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is a good one.
I made that up just right now, so I know it's not right. But
Yeah, I don't even know.
Paradoxical undressing.
Who picks these cards?
Well, they're at random.
These media guys are definitely smarter than we are.
yeah, I'd like to get them on here.
Wilderness
See if I
first
can-
responder curriculum.
Oh,
I've had that for 15 or so
I guess we're
years now.
second or third responders, Dean.
I don't even know if I'm a responder. I
All
just
right,
show
let's
up.
do one that's going to be a little bit easier.
Appreciate it.
Please.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
What mammal has the most lakes named after it in America? This is multiple
Mammal?
choice.
Mammal. Not fish, dude.
Good.
Mammal.
Multiple choice.
Bear, beaver, otter.
See, my guess was going to be bear. Without
Mine
hitting
was
us.
too, but then you got beaver and otter.
I mean, there's a lot of otter lakes, but I'm going with bear. As I know several off the top of my head.
Yeah, I would have to concur. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
Yeah.
Is that
Beaver was tempting, but it's got to be bear.
I've only been on like one beaver.
And the
lake,
only
one
other otter lakes, like Otter Tail,
Right.
or a few others. So
Right. Well, let's find out.
yeah,
It's bear.
Boom.
boom.
See?
We're so smart.
we are.
Well, we're
1 out of
3.
3 ain't bad.
That's not bad.
Isn't that
All
a
right.
song?
1 out of 3 ain't bad. Something. I think that's a part of a song. I don't know if it's
Yeah, I
actually
think so.
Is it 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3?
Oh, maybe it's 2 out of 3.
I think it's 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, but the way I roll, 1 out of 3 is pretty good.
Yeah.
That's the way I always looked at it.
I'll take 1 out of 10. All right. I picked this one. I did hand pick this one
Okay.
because I was looking through and I figured it was timely. I know we just wrapped up the Summer Olympics.
Yes.
This one is about the Winter Olympics.
Okay.
What is the only sport in the Winter Olympics that uses a gun?
Okay. And this is for listeners.
This is for the listeners. So
Oh, yeah.
write in your answer and you could be our next winner.
Yeah. Comment on YouTube or Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes. Hit
What
that
is-
subscribe button.
What is the only sport in the Winter Olympics that uses a gun?
And again, send us your answer. We'll give you some swag.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Olympics,
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
do you guys watch? I mean, there's people that have just gone viral now, like that
The turkey
Turkish
guy.
shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Standing there all
That is cool.
He is pretty,
casual
pretty
with his
gnarly.
hand in his pocket.
Yeah, that guy's legit.
I watch some Olympics. It just kind of depends, obviously,
Yeah.
what I'm doing, and just have it on for background noise. I mean, I do like the swimming. Michael Phelps. I loved to watch him.
Yeah.
And some of these other up and comers, are pretty decent. I like the swimming. I've always watched the gymnastics. For a little bit. I wish they would show more of the horse.
Yeah.
The jumping and then
Right.
dressage and I don't even know what the obstacle course and stuff like that. That's always pretty cool.
Yeah. My daughter watched the men's diving, so I watched that
diving's
for a while.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had no idea that breakdancing was part of the Olympics this year. Did you all see that Australian woman?
I heard
breakdancing?
about it, but I didn't see it.
You got to find the video.
I did not hear about that.
Kind of hilarious. It sounds like she just kind of got herself into the Olympics entirely as a joke. And then, there's these people breakdancing, like spinning on their heads and everything.
Yeah.
And she went out there and pretended to be a kangaroo for 5 minutes.
That's awesome.
She competed 3 times and got 0 points. Like all 3 rounds combined.
Awesome.
Nice.
Way to go.
Talk about some, 10 minutes of fame.
Right.
Well, maybe
Right.
they just need a filler on the Aussie team.
Yeah.
Like somebody can break dance. It's just like, hey, I can do a kangaroo.
That's right.
Oh, I do watch a lot of the track and field. I love the running and everything. And did you see the pole vault?
The French pole vaulter that
Yeah.
if his manhood.
Oh,
nobody
that
was-
guy.
No,
bounced
I
off
was
his
talking about the
junk.
guy that actually won it.
Okay, I
don't
that.
remember what country that was. I'm going to say it wrong, so I'm not even going to say it. But at any rate, I think it was Spain.
Yeah, that's tough to say.
Trained, went to school. He's actually American citizen, and
Okay.
trained and everything. And then, then they go for their heritage country a lot of the
Right,
times. So,
right.
Yeah.
but that was world record, Olympic record, everything. I mean, that was amazing, and
Wow.
it took him the third and final try to get it. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then there's a few Minnesota people
Yeah.
that had won pretty good.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. I know Senator Herr was at the Olympics to support, I can't remember her name, but one of the athletes. I think she was a gymnast who was
Yeah.
from St. Paul.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
Senator
yeah.
Herr's community.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he went to support her. So
Yeah.
that's
I
kinda
want to
cool.
say one of the shot put guys was from Minnesota, but I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah. Don't spread
But
misinformation.
at any rate,
knows?
you know,
Yeah. I've never been a huge Olympic fan.
I prefer the Winter Olympics myself.
I do
I
too.
do. I do too.
Yeah.
So,
but and then so next Summer Olympics in LA.
right.
So this would be the. I've got to start looking at my facts before I even say anything. But
just make
I
them up.
do
No one will
know
know.
the LA Coliseum. Obviously, that's cool to have it back there.
Yeah.
84 was, I think, the most recent one.
Was it?
Yeah. I'm going to have to look that
Wouldn't
up
it have been
now.
82? Because they alternate summer, winter, right? Every 2 years.
They do, but
And
I
Miracle on Ice was 1980.
Right.
I know my hockey. That's about it.
Right. How did the men's basketball team do?
They won.
I saw some video that was like a parody. You know, some guy pretended to be like the coach from any of the other teams.
Yeah.
You know, talking about how they're coming up against the U.S. and we just got a double block LeBron or who, I don't know. I don't know basketball, and they were like, okay, but then what do we do with, is it Kevin Durant? Is that someone?
Yeah.
They're like, well, what do we do about him? Oh, we double team him too. And like they go through everyone and he's like, all right, well, we just got to injure every one of their players and then they'll have their bench players. Who's on their bench? And they're like, Jokic or whoever. Like it just blows any other team out of the water.
Yeah. So 32, 84, and 2028.
Oh, you're right.
This Summer Olympics, it was 84.
All right.
Yep.
Maybe they didn't used to do every 2 years then.
I think they did, but I think during a few wars, some stuff got switched around.
It could be.
32, 84, and 20.
Yeah, because I want to say I read that the Coliseum was actually built in 21. And then it, became the Olympic Coliseum or LA Coliseum and everything. So, I don't know. It's kind of neat. I think it's pretty cool.
So why don't you ask that question again before we close out here?
Yeah, one last time. It was, what is the only sport in the Winter Olympics that uses a gun?
Boom. Facebook, YouTube, subscribe, post your comment there, and we'll send you some stuff.
Yep. Good luck.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building our hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40-plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and wolf.report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or mission of our sponsors.